That doesn't happen in India, and I think there's a great opportunity. The fourth item, which I'm going to put before you, and that's the last item I'm going to talk about, and it's very controversial. It's going to set you thinking, but I still need to share it with you. The problem that we have is that 55 to 60% of our population is living in slums. Let's not call it slums. Let's call it informal housing, because it is informal housing. Suppose, for a moment, all of the people who are living in slums were made owners. What would it do? Number one, your property tax, which is like 3,000 crores, will cross 7,000 crores. And the deficit that the state government has will be wiped out for years. Secondly, he will be able to raise money against what he owns from HDFC, LIC housing, or whatever it is. He's not driven to the Shaukar to get his money. And thirdly, because he's the owner, even for redevelopment, the strength with which he will negotiate will be as an owner. Now, how do we do it? There's a mechanism to do it. You form a company, give shares, give undivided interest, and then kind of make it happen. But this is something that all of us need to think, because any traditional way of solving this problem of informal housing is not going to work. It's not going to work because even your entire police department and 10 times that police department will be insufficient to solve the problem, because you can't really desouse people. So that's something which I want to leave behind with you as a thought. Let me just leave some pointers. All of us need to prepare for change, because the only thing constant is change, as you know. And I think as long as we are open to changing the way we work, whether we are developers, investors, realtors, anything, I think it will work to our advantage. Secondly, any scheme, for it to succeed, must take care of all stakeholders, and it must address the issues of all those stakeholders. So as long as these two things are taken care of, I think whatever scheme we are talking about will succeed. A word for the South Bombay Realtors. Sir, you are in the right business. You can't be in a better business. Because you're talking about the best location that the world can offer. So, you're in the best profession, the best location, excellent pricing, make the most of it, is what I'd like to say. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, after that very thought-provoking presentation, we'd request 2 questions from the audience due to paucity of time. So in case of any questions, please do raise your hands, and please do introduce yourselves before directing the question to Mr. Vakil. Kindly raise your hands. We'll pass on the mics to you.
I'd like to put a question.
Would you give your name, please?
My name is Kunjal Trivedi, and I'm proud member of SMART.
Welcome.
Sir, I'd like to put a question that in a market we talk about 2 terms, a bullish market and a bearish market. So in a property market, we always talk about a bullish upward trend. Rather, we are facing a notional bullish, but I just wanted to know that is property market will ever face a bearish terms in respect to prices?
My understanding, the market consists of 2 things: volumes and prices. So you could have high prices and low volumes, or you could have huge volumes and reasonable prices. You have to judge the market, to my mind, not by the prices alone, but by the volumes that you generate. Do you remember were you in business in 2007-8? Have you seen the kind of volumes we have seen when the interest rate for housing loan had gone down to about 8%? We have seen the highest volumes. And that speaks of the market. The health of the market is the volumes, not necessarily the prices. If one transaction takes place at 1,35,000 rupees per square feet, that doesn't make the market. The market consists of how many such flats are sold.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Past. We all need to be, on the toes to learn, update our knowledge. But we don't have any formal education for the realtors.
Well, I skipped that point. It was there in my presentation.
Yeah.
as
Can
you
you
must
throw
have
some
seen.
light on that? If there are a lot
Well-
of next generation consultant here.
I don't know how many of you heard of the RICS course, which is taking place in Delhi. And this is a wonderful course. I've been a little bit a part of it. As you know, I'm a part of RICS. So I think it will do a lot good. There should be more of those courses available all through the country. But yes, training is a must. You can't go blind in this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have room for just one last question. Yes, sir.
Hi. Sir, one small question. Are we ever going to see FDI in real estate in the near future?
Sorry. Am I envisaging FDI in real estate? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. I think to some extent there is FDI in real estate today, except that the conditions which are there are pretty stringent and they need to be slightly diluted. I don't think $10 million is a condition that anybody is worried about. But the 100 acres might be an issue. So you bring it down and see what you can do. Also, there are things which are completely exempt from the press note too, right? So can we kind of take on those for investment? So FDI in real estate needs a second look because what was legislated or what was in that ordinance needs to be kind of looked at again. Also because the rupee dollar parity has changed, a lot has changed. Thank you, Vikram.
So, sir, the land acquisition bill which was passed yesterday,
Yeah.
one or two lines on that, sir?
Well, it'll take me a session. Good and bad both. It was needed because, it was more than 110 years old or something like that. So it was needed, but there are a number of things there which are very, very objectionable. I'll just give you an instance of one thing. If somebody was to tell you that you're buying this land, look after the occupant of that land for the next 20 years, give him 2,000 rupees a month, and adjust it for inflation for the next 20 years, how would you feel? What the person acquiring the land wants is finality. Once he's paid the money, he wants to be the final owner of it in a position to transfer. Here the law says that after taking the land, you want to transfer it within 5 years, you go and find people who were there before as owners and give them 40% of the gain that you have made. That's what the law says. Now, some of you have dealt with land transactions. These farmers are not very easy people. They also have 2 and 3 wives. Okay? To track down that farmer, to distribute that profit. See, on a one-off basis, you buy the land and that should be the end of it. But if you are given an ongoing responsibility, I think it's very onerous to my mind. But it's a subject that calls for a seminar like this. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause once again. And sir, may I please request you to stay back? May I please request Mr. Rajesh Mahatme and Mr. Dinesh Mehta to please come on stage and present the memento to Mr. Vakil as a token of gratitude.